Yeah, hell yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, but what have you been working on guitar wise? How's the shed been treating you?
Oh, it's since I don't really have much else to do, that's all I've really been doing,
Yeah, I feel that.
So like I've been trying to do like, I'm like trying to transcribe a lot. Do a lot. I'm like trying to do like some
Lacking on
solo stuff.
what solos you been working on?
Well, I mean like solo guitar, like chord melody stuff.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's the one I just learned was it's a tune called "You Don't Know What Love Is." It's a like a pretty common like jazz thing.
Uh,
That's a hard one.
minor 11 question mark?
What was that?
Minor 11 question mark?
Yeah, minor 11. Yeah,
Yeah, good.
I didn't want to just do the whole.
Yeah, I do like that. I do
I
like
like it. I
it.
like it too, but I
The
kind of like getting.
it's
I
the
kind of like getting the upper voice.
used one though, I think.
This is
Yeah,
like a this is like
for
this is
sure.
like a fucking Holdsworth voicing.
Yeah, 157 and then four.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, like that. If you, I want to try to get like the 9 in there too. Like,
Oh. Oh. Yeah. Like.
put
And,
me in the emergency room trying to play that chord. Yeah, yeah, like that. Or like fucking.
yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
It's a nice sound, but you
The
know.
the other thing I kind of related to is like doing the neo soul or whatever, like minor
Yeah,
in the
as like as overdone as those kind of voicings are, like
yeah,
they're tried and tested.
totally.
Or if you want to get the 9, you could probably do like a smaller, like like a shorter voicing like this.
Yeah, totally. That's nice.
And then if you want to get the bass in there.
Hey, yeah, dude.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah.
Ah,
That's not. Look at that wrist. Look at that wrist. That's definitely won't give me that definitely won't give me tendonitis.
yeah, dude, I already got it. It's too late.
I don't know. I've been pretty good. Like I think I've always kind of been like kind of self like conscious about like where like how my wrist is. So like I always try to like keep it like generally like if not like straight, then at least like kind of this way. So it's not like because one of my friends got
A little curved. At least
yeah,
in the hand.
yeah, if it's like a little curve, that's fine, but like one of my friends got like nerve damage in his fretting hand
Oh wow.
because he was just because he always played like this and no one ever corrected him.
Yeah.
And so like one day he like over time he got like this sharp pain in his arm, and
Yeah.
then he had to like yeah, it was like he had to like miss like like he had to miss like an entire semester. He had to like cancel his recital and stuff. It was like pretty it was pretty heavy. But like now he's back, and like he's kind of redone his technique and like
Nice.
real that stuff. So like he's uh, it's, that's relieving, to hear.
He ended up being like the best guitar player ever, and that happened to him in like the second year or something. He had to take the whole
Oh,
year off, and then he graduated like 1 o'clock lab band guitar player, UNT. Yeah, which,
Really? What? Who was this?
Horace Bray.
Oh wow.
He's,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know that name.
he's pretty good, dude. He used to be my neighbor for like a long time. I used to take lessons from him. Used to hang out with him,
Oh
see his shows.
wow.
But I met him right after that. Like, right, he was like, yeah, I haven't played for like a year or something. And I was like, holy fuck. And he was like, yeah, but I'm hitting the shed, like, getting able to play again and reading and blah, blah. And, he was like going to school for guitar, for jazz. And then like once he got back, he just like exploded. So I've heard shit like that. Kind of like once you reevaluate your technique and everything, people just like, does a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard, especially if you can use that time constructively is good too. Like,
Exactly.
that kind of happened to me too. I had my picking hand was really fucked up. I got in a car wreck and I like grabbed the steering wheel and I like hairline fractured my wrist right here. And they said I didn't need a cast, but it really fucked with how I played the guitar for a while. And it's pretty silly. I met this dirty hippie on the side of the road. Like I was like walking in front of this, and this guy was named Edie, and like I don't know, I just had like I was walking around and like my hand was in this brace because it made it feel better all the time, and I was like walking around. He just looks at me, he goes, "Oh man, that would kill my sex life," and I was like, "What? Who the fuck is this guy?" And he's like, "Yo, can I like see your wrist?" And I was like, kind of apprehensive, but I was like, "Yo, man, if this guy can fix my wrist, whatever." And it's like, it can't be any more fucked up than it already is. So stupidly, I like let him see my wrist. I don't know what he did, but he just goes, boom, boom, and then he was like, "There you go." And I swear to God, it was like better instantly. And I was like, I've been dealing with it for like 3 or 4 months at that point, and was like, what?
Oh
And
my god.
I was gonna like I had some auditions and shit, and like I don't know, a bunch of shows and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna be really fucked if I can't get this, under control. And this random fucking dude who lived in this van outside of a pizza place fixed my wrist. I was like, thank you, crazy dirty. And then I like never saw him again. And
Wow.
he was just like an angel. I have no idea.
Wow.
But I would kill my sex life, and I was like,
It's like,
what do you like? Who are you?
trust me, he needs that wrist more than ever.
It was pretty funny.
That's like, wow. Like no one would ever believe you after that.
Yeah. That's like, wow, crazy.
Once he did that to you, you'll never have a wrist problem ever again.
Not in this one. And yeah, it's been it's been a pleasure. But now this one's kind of fucking up, but it's whatever.
Oh, hopefully you'll run into another.
Maybe I'll find him again. The same.
Please, I need you. I need you now.
Signal just for him. Yeah, man, that's cool. Fucking yeah, you just been like, everyone's been saying you gotta transcribe. I haven't been transcribing. I've been trying to finish an album.
Oh really? Like writing an album?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, not cold turkey is a weird word to use, but like I'm kind of just like, every time I sit down at the computer, I try to like make a demo or something, and then I don't know, I'm on like day 18 of lockdown or something. No, next Saturday will be 3 weeks.
That's right.
So, yeah. And yeah, so I'm just like, and I had a few songs that I kind of had like half-baked before, kind of similar scenario. I was just like sitting down on my computer, just trying to make some beats, basically, just like get some ideas down, just dick around or whatever. And then some of them, weren't turds, and I was like, oh man, I kind of went back and finished them a couple days ago. And yeah, now I got 4 songs, and I think I should just kind of keep pounding away and see if I get a whole album, because I've been releasing 4 songs at a time. I don't know if you've ever kind of experienced or had any experimenting with the release strategies, because like I used to do singles only. I used to go like now I'm doing 4 songs, but I used before that only drop albums, and I didn't really see that much of a return on it. And especially like when you look on Bandcamp and you see like the complete listens and shit, it's like song 8 has like 1 or 2 complete listens, and you're like, why? Like,
Right.
if I had released it in a different format, somebody probably would have listened to it.
Exactly. Like if you do like the whole one song at a time thing, or like maybe not all of them, but just like release like maybe 3, like between like 2 and 4 singles or something like that. Really kind of get the word out there.
Yeah, and seeing these big cats, do like every 2 weeks release something on Spotify, and that's kind of interesting. And it's like,
Hmm.
I don't know, big people
Yeah.
like 100,000 following bigger, are doing that.
Hmm.
There's got to be
Yeah.
to that, but everyone's doing it. But
Yeah. I would like. I don't have like a recording, like a home studio setup or anything. So I'm just kind of like yeah. I guess as far as like content, is reserved. Yeah.
but
Is that your interface?
I got it for $24, and I just plug it into my computer.
$24.
Yeah, I'll send you some shit. I mean, it's not like the greatest sound, but it's like, everyone's kind of in this position, like exactly what you just said, where it's like, well, I don't really have whatever. And it's like, well, everybody kind of doesn't really have whatever right now. Like
Hmm.
everyone's realizing they, don't have the right material to record an album or have, uh, whatever mic'd up conversations on the computer or like, HD video or whatever it is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
kind of like a big thing for everyone, but yeah, it's the PreSonus USB audio box. I'm sure you can find whatever. I have like another M Audio one that I recorded some shit on, and people when I released the Library Park sessions, that was like where I lived at the time, and they were just like, yo, this sounds great, the quality's amazing. And I was like, dude, I literally used an interface from 1990. 90. That thing was older than I was. And like,
Wow.
I was born 94. I'm 26 years old, but it was older than me. And I still was able to hook it up to my computer USB. And everyone was like, dude, this thing sounds great. And I was like, dude, this is literally the shittiest shit, you know.
Just don't tell anyone that. Just be
Oh,
like, yeah.
I did though, because I was like kind of proud of it. It was like, oh, it was like more of a testament to be like, maybe it's the songs, maybe I'm like writing good riffs. It's not like the best sounding
Yeah.
shit, but like,
But it's
I,
like, it's good quality material that would sound good through any setup, really.
yeah,
You know.
it's good enough, I think, is kind of the thing. And this
Hmm.
thing too, it's good enough. But, I went to a recording studio pretty recently and like kind of tried to re-record the demos I was talking about on my computer that I made. The quality was
Hmm.
lightning better, so it was
Hmm.
fuck. And now I'm trying to re-record over some of that shit, and it sounds a little weird, but it's like
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
the space isn't quite right. Like we recorded in a big room, and then like everything else was DI, and then we used like a Mesa Boogie, and then like a Fender Twin, and then like a couple DIs, and then we used the Plini stuff. Have you heard of the neural DSP shit? It's like
No,
um,
I haven't.
you know who Plini is, Plini.
I know who Pliny is.
He
Yeah.
has like a, I don't know, like an XFX rack or something, but it's like a computer program, and then you just
Oh man.
download it, and it's like all of his tones from all of his records basically. And dude, it's fucking amazing. So I used all that shit on the lap steel, and it just sounds.
Oh my God.
It's like first off, you can't make a slide sound like that on your regular guitar. Unless you have like huge ass, thick ass strings and really high action, which is possible. Some people do it, but
Possible. I can't do that shit.
yeah, I play like 13s, and I like to use the slide, and it sounds decent. I don't know where it is right now. I think it's in the living room, but
Mm.
the
The,
thing
the,
is 14, 15 or something.
wow. Yeah, the heaviest string gauge I go is I have 12 flats on my Les Paul.
Nice.
Yeah, and on here I have 11s on top and then 52 on the bottom. So it's like so I kind of like just like so like each side is like kind of heavy enough, but
Mm,
also light enough where I can still like bend strings and like do all that, without like being in immense pain.
Totally. Yeah, I like don't bend strings from the habit of playing really thick ass strings. I got into that whole Ariel Posen, uh, Joey Landreth, Mark Luthieri, Charlie Hunter. Uh, and yeah, I don't know. I took like a 3-hour group lesson from Charlie Hunter like last week. It was crazy.
Wow.
I'll send it to you. I have it on my phone. It's pretty silly. It's like
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
he's just like ripping it. It's audio only, but it sounds pretty good. But
One of my friends is like big into Charlie Hunter. He's also like my the this friend of mine. He's also like a big like telly nut, and
mm,
like he did this whole thing
oh,
like to my guitar,
yeah, okay,
and as well as like the pickup job and stuff.
yeah, nice, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like with these pickups, it's so like this is just like a standard like Mexi telly, like but like he took out like the single coil like stock pickups and the bridge. He put a little 59 Seymour Duncan humbucker,
Sick.
a a 59 bridge that I think is usually used in Strats,
Oh wow.
and then this middle one is called a duckbucker. So like you can get, so like if it's here's like, and you put a push pull switch on the tone knob, so like that activates the middle pickup.
That's pretty heavy.
So that's what it's on.
Super clean.
It's a little bit usually I kind of like to start a solo like that, like tone knob a little bit back, and then with it up. And then for something, and then like later on I'll flip back to the humbucker. You know,
Sick.
kind of like, I guess, kind of like something that like Hendrix used to do with his toggle switch, but
Yeah.
a little bit more of a radical approach. Um,
Yeah.
but what was I getting to? Oh yeah, Charlie Hunter. So like my friend has like 5 tellies, I think, and he put bass like thickness strings
Yeah.
on one of them, because I guess that's like a Charlie Hunter thing, I guess, or
Yeah.
yeah,
He takes it so far. He's got the dual output for the bass string, so it's like one pedal board for this one, and then like a different pedal board for the other one. So he's got like
wow.
octave down and distortion or chorus or whatever, and then you could have like
Hmm.
the organ sound on the higher strings only with just distortion. It's like the dude's a madman.
Yeah, I'm like, I've never really been like a much like
I
huge
don't
into
know
like the
what
whole.
the thing is. I was like trying to look at his hands, and I was like, it's useless. He plays so low.
Yeah.
It's like I think he plays like F sharp or G or something. Like he has a B flat open string, and it's very confusing. But
Yeah. uh, I've never like, I'm I'm admittedly like
I'm
pretty
sure he talks.
like a pretty big what.
Oh, I'm sure you could Google it. I'm sure it's like a Googleable thing. But those
My
baritone
that
E standard. So
baritone B. Yeah.
yeah, I got one of those. You ever seen one of those?
Um, maybe like in passing, but I don't. But it's not sticking with me right now.
It's I have mine tuned to C.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is that a Dan Electro
Yeah.
something? Yeah, I've seen those.
Jesus.
I've seen the Dan Electro electric 12 string, but I haven't seen the baritone.
Yeah. So like C, like below your E.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
pretty cool.
It's like a different thing. You get like I don't know. It sounds really really bright sometimes, but it's also super super low if you like roll a tone knob back.
So what's the tuning bottom to top?
C, G, C, and then E, and then G, and then C.
Oh, so it's like open C. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll put it in C standard, but yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty crazy thing if you never tried to like just detune your guitar to some open tuning. I mean, open tunings are interesting. There's the whole that Joey Landreth and Ariel Posen guy. I mean, they're doing this like pretty specifically as far as their. I haven't done this in a minute, but they could play any tune in this tuning, and it's like, how the fuck do you do that? There's this video I'll send to you. It's him just talking about how to play an open D, and he's just jamming with this other guy in open D. And he's like, oh yeah, you want to play the arpeggios, you just should I play short five? But all the shapes are all different with the arpeggios and stuff, and then like talking about like chord types. Well, if this is major, then that makes this minor.
That's minor.
I don't know. Like you could just think about, well, if it's a 6, then there's dominant 7. You dominant 7 9. You know what I mean? And you can figure out shapes. Like, and then thinking about like your this is 1 5 5 4 1. It's like making minor chords is like really hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
But it's kind of interesting. Like all of your voicings really change because all of your notes are different. And
I've experimented like very like not. I haven't like done like too much with alternate tunings.
Yeah.
I tried one. It was like what the fuck was it? It was like D. It was like open D major 7 add 9. I experimented a little bit with it. I forget what exactly it was. It's like D. It's like D A E. No. I think it's like D. Was it D A C sharp F sharp C sharp E? I think that's what it is. And it's like that's like from bottom to top. It was like that's a pretty cool one. I only like messed around with it a little bit on acoustic, but it's like let me actually make sure that's the right one. I'm gonna detune.
Right on.
Detune now and see what.
The other thing I really like about really any open tuning is like especially the harmonics is going to get and what they normally would be. That's the first one, and then the second one is like you have all these half steps that are very.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. So here's the tuning.
Oh wow.
And you can do the.
Yeah, and it's like good luck playing that technique,
Oh yeah, you can do like. a really nice one.
Really. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is like, so just trying to commit, like, even if you were just to try to play a whole gig in that tuning, it's like, okay, you got to think, well, if this is D major, 7, whatever, this E major 7, and
Mm-hmm.
have to think about like what the actual chords are. And
Yeah.
I've tried that before, just be like, all right, sissy strut, let's go, do something, and
Yeah.
or just play like one of my tunes on this thing, and it's dude, it's a mind fuck. One time talking about bad gigs. I broke 2 strings on my acoustic guitar. I drove all the way back to my house to grab this because this is like the only other guitar I had. That had strings, and I just played the whole gig. Uh, in C, and it was like my mind hurt so bad. I
I mean, reasonably so.
transpose all the chord shapes of it. Change the standards of it. Like, where would G be? Where would A be? And like, thank God they knew the chords. I mean, it just goes to show you, like, if you know the form, you can think about it for a minute. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. I feel like you could probably attest to this, where it's like normally when you're transposing, you're having to like shift it on the page, but the like whatever, the page was the same, but the instrument was changing, which were like all the shapes were changing. Normally it's like the other way around, so like at least the
Mm-hmm.
guitar is like more similar. For like, well, if you're reading like a saxophone part and you're trying to play it at pitch or something, does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally get that.
So it's like vice versa. It's like I'm changing the shape, but the notes are staying the same. It was so weird. It was so
That's like totally fucked.
yeah. And needless to say, I did not get invited back to the I not bad, but it definitely like wasn't my brightest moment. But
Hey, we all have them.
yeah, I mean, we got tips and we got paid, and I don't know, it wasn't that bad. Nobody was like,
Yeah,
"What the hell?"
still better. It's still better than nothing.
Through that,
You,
through that.
you did give them live music or a live something.
My girlfriend played. She played cello. She played Bach. I mean, how often do you get to hear Bach at a booth?
Come on,
Yeah,
Bach and a detuned guitar. Come on,
yeah, true. That's a once
this
in a
is like it's a
experience.
once in a lifetime chance to see that.
So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. That's kind of why I went as my guitar situation is so shitty, and that was like the day where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I get like a one functional electric guitar because I have this thing, and then I have the shittiest acoustic guitar known to man. It's like a Mitchell. It's just really cheap. I just didn't have a lot of money
Oh,
on it, and it was eh, like quality, and I like played the shit out of it, and now it's like in not good condition.
oh,
And
jeez.
it definitely paid for itself. I probably
Was it like $200 or something?
yeah, brand
Yeah.
new, and I had to pick up on it, and I was like, it plays, let's go. And like literally the next day, I had like an acoustic video shoot, so I was like, whatever, this is the cheapest one that sounds the best. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I probably
Yeah.
did like 20 of them, and they all sucked. But
That's kind of like how that's like almost how I went about getting my acoustic, because I
yeah,
have a Yamaha acoustic, and I was just like, okay, like I had like a little bit of extra money left over from like I just got like a pretty decent paycheck for a gig, and I was like, oh well, now I have enough money to like maybe buy like a half decent acoustic, you know.
yeah,
So like I mean obviously I couldn't afford a Martin, I couldn't afford a Taylor, or like
yeah.
anything like that. So I'm like, okay, what else is there? And I went to the guitar shop, and I found I was looking through. I was like, oh, here's a I was deciding between my Yamaha, which I ended up getting,
Yeah.
and like a Mitchell, because I was like the Yamaha was like 300 plus tax, and
Okay.
and the Mitchell was like 150.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, what's the difference? And then I asked someone. He was like, they were literally like, get the Yamaha.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do not get the Mitchell.
yeah.
And I was
It's
like,
fuck no.
mm-hmm.
It was okay, but now it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, and the frets are like really cheap. Is really what it is. They're just like, so many of them are dead now. And then
Oh, there's like effects built in to it.
the frets, like,
Oh, the frets. Oh,
yeah,
I thought you said effects.
no,
My,
they're just
my
yeah.
bad.
And they got like little like nicks in them, so like your string kind of like you can get caught in there. It's like, it's a
Oh,
nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare. The whole 13th fret is just like, it's but yeah,
great.
so that was shitty. And then it was like breaking strings all the time, and the tuners were shot, and then like, so I was like, screw this, I'm getting the Ibanez. But yeah, I have like everything tuned to C right now. Like this is C, the mandolin is C, the slide guitar is C, and yeah, I don't know. That was definitely the slide guitar was a lesson in string tension for sure.
Mhm.
It just came in some random like just detuned, like, in a good way. Like, I don't know, I would rather it not be tuned when I get it. But like, anyways, I'm like looking at all these tunings, and there's like a million tunings to the slide guitar. And I'm like, I have no idea. So I'm trying to, try them all out. And the one I had originally played was tuned like a guitar. I guess they had guitar strings on it, which makes sense. That's possible. But like, these are not guitar strings. They're very thin. The E string is like, the low E is like a tuned to the C, but like this one, like on your A string. And
Oh wow.
I was like, what the fuck is this shit? So like it's in like a C major tuning. It's like C major and then A minor is like the strings, and
God
it's
damn.
yeah, it's confusing. And then like I was saying, my girlfriend plays cello, so that's low C. So everything, my whole universe is C right now, just kind of.
Whole universe has been flipped upside down.
Yeah, lower, a minor third.
Lower.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I don't know. It's definitely just on that topic. I tried
would
to.
you would you recommend doing that, like just trying that out one day? And
Totally,
like to me,
totally.
yeah.
It's in general, like I was talking about, just having to learn about all the shapes again, and like,
Hmm.
and using your ears and just being like, this is a cool fucking chord. I don't know what this chord is, but or
Whatever the hell that is, it's cool.
it's like,
Yeah.
but it's like, you can theory it, but it's still like, it's still,
Hmm.
the shapes are all different, so like you kind of just stumble
Yeah.
upon some shit.
Yeah. That's kind of how regardless of tuning, that's kind of how I like to go about like figuring shit out. I mean, like I know enough theory that I can like, kind
Yeah,
of break down. I can kind of break it down, but like while I'm trying to like play something, I have like I'm just like not thinking about that at all. I'm like, okay, what note, you know,
yeah,
I'll pick this note as the top note, and then okay, what can I do that makes that sound good? Okay.
yeah,
Or like or
yeah,
like or like or like
yeah,
uh that kind of thing. So like I'm like after the fact I could break it down and stuff like that, but
yeah. That's kind of
uh,
my downfall, where it's like I have I have to like kind of understand, like, again, like I think you play this, but
yeah.
I can like think, I can understand, like, okay, I know what you're doing. This is minor 11 something, and then
Yeah.
you're like taking it from wherever. That's kind of like I totally get that from the
Like
guitar.
the voice, like the voice leading type of thing, you
Yeah,
know.
and transferring it, doing it on that thing, I'm not there with like where I can
No.
regurgitate the note
No.
quickly. So like that transfer.
No, it would absolutely take me, like quite a few, like several minutes and or hours to
Yeah,
like to figure out how to like you know make that adjustment to like not E standard,
yeah, and then again, it's kind of like I do feel like my chops suffer a little bit because I spend so much time learning something different. But in the theory and the ear and the writing standpoint, and kind of again to the middle finger of like, if you're a guitar player trying to figure that shit out, good luck, bro. Good luck. Like
For sure.
my
For
last,
sure. Good luck, because you're gonna need it.
yeah, was all. I just kind of did it for my own funsies. Just like I did like banjo tuning. I did. There's and that one's like low D, G, D, G, B, and then D.
Hmm.
And then I capo 2'd, and then that's like the last song. The first song is like drop D, and then like that's not that weird, but still.
Hmm.
And then I did capo 3, and then I don't know. The other one was the David Crosby tuning, which is like D B. Now I gotta think E B, and then D, and then G, and then A, and then D. It's very strange. There's some Martin video of him talking about it, and it was on Fretboard Journal or something. He's just talking about some old guitar that he has, and that's what, like, I guess Genevieve was written in, and a couple of the other ones that I really liked. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I learned that tuning. I didn't learn any of the songs, but I was like, holy shit, I see why he's like so into this, because you play, whatever, and you have the D, an A and a D string down here, and it's like the same relationship, I guess, but it's
Hmm.
I don't know, it's pretty gnarly. I enjoy that. So yeah, then I learned about those guys I was talking about earlier, Arnold Bozeman and Joey Lander. They do the Ariel's in B standard. He plays like baritone, but on a Strat, like on a normal standard size Strat.
God damn.
And it's a steel bottom. It's like a resonator. And then Joey plays like a Telly one, but he's on C. And it's
Hmm.
just like, oh well, I got to try that. And then I had already been into Charlie Hunter, but I don't have that kind of guitar with like where I could put bass strings on it. You had to get like a new nut and like all this crazy.
Yeah, you gotta sand that shit
Yeah,
down like crazy.
yeah. And I don't know. I just got into that, and I used to take lessons from Mark Lettieri from Snarky Puppy, and he did that whole baritone record,
No
and
way,
like that blew my brains whenever he played that, and
man.
was just like writing it. I was like, I don't fuck, what is that shit? And,
Yeah, yeah. Mark Lettieri is fucking crazy. Have you seen videos of Bob Lanzetti?
yeah, totally,
Yeah, yeah.
totally.
He's like I mean like he's not like he's not like as crazy as
He's
Mark,
though.
but like
I
he's
would say from my experience, I took a lesson with Bob once, and he was on Skype. It was like when he was living in New York.
hmm
But
yeah he still lives there, I
yeah,
think.
he's still there, and
He's in Brooklyn.
yeah, that's wild, dude. And just in general, dude, he was smoking it. I mean, the lesson was like, let's play all the things you are at 160. And it was like just me and him and the metronome, and I was like, fuck, this is so hard, dude. I don't know, probably 5 years ago was not as good. And yeah, he's just smoking it with the metronome. I mean, you could definitely tell, like, from my experience perspective, maybe is like not to talk shit on Mark, but like Bob went to school for music, and Mark can just hear the fuck out of anything. And like,
Yeah.
there's sometimes where Mark doesn't even know what note he's playing or whatever. And like he could tell you, but like if he's an E major, he might tell you that he's playing A flat or something like that.
Hmm.
Like the theory level is like not quite there, but he could still hear it and play it. He just doesn't know like what to call it always. Uh,
Hmm. That's
it's
fair.
really interesting. That was like a really strange thing. Taking from him, because it was like, oh, dude, this is like Lydian dominant or whatever. And he's like, I guess so.
Shit.
And it's like, how do you
Fuck.
hear that shit? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was really just like getting his perspective on like his sounds and playing and everything, because it was like he just kind of does it and it like has someone else analyze it, or he just does it later, and it's just
That's
like
just that's fucking crazy.
yeah,
Like I'm just like goodbye.
yeah,
Just like,
yeah, because then you have shit written down on like Sound Slice, or the lesson the jam plays and shit, and it's just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And where you're just listening to him try and transcribe, and you're just like, this is balls, dude. He's playing like harmonic minor, F sharp harmonic minor over like B flat major right now. I don't even get it, but he hears it somehow. And but Bob's like totally different. And
yeah, Bob like knows the notes and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was scary. It was like, all right,
Yeah.
Here's the metronome. I took a lesson with Chris McQueen too. I sat next to him at a movie theater once. It was very strange. I was like, just looked to my left, and I was like, holy shit, it's Chris McQueen. You know, like I've seen him before, and
Yeah.
I don't know. He was just like, I was like, yo, dude, can I get a lesson from you? He was like, 10 a.m. tomorrow. He just like gave me his phone number, and yeah, we just like met in this little shed and just played
Fuck.
with him. It was like super sick. It was very eye opening to the calibrating that I needed to do on my 16th notes at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like, making me hit the last 16th note of 7 or something, and I was just like, fuck, dude, this is really really hard. I haven't ever really got like 1 minute to eat. Like super. And he was like all alternate picking shit. It was like that's pretty wild.
God damn.
Definitely a lesson. And then we tried to read one of his tunes. I remembered that, and it was like, oh my god, so hard. I
Just
remember,
be like, man, you gotta give me some more. You gotta give me more heads up than that.
no, he walked in on me reading it, which was kind of funny because he had a rehearsal in that room the day before, and he like had his music just on the stand, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna read this, and I was
Word.
like. I was like struggling. I had read it a couple of times through before he came in the room, and he was like, "Oh, you got it down," and I was like, "Should have heard me 5 minutes ago."
I'm like, do I? I'm like, do I though?
Yeah. We played it, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" And I remember he goes, "If you're gonna write instrumental music these days, you might as well make it hard as fuck." I was like,
you might as well what?
Make it hard as fuck. Just like
Make it hard as fuck.
it's like. It was like you have to count, and then soloing over it was like super hard, and it was like in different time signatures, there was like unison lines, and it was some crazy shit.
There's no other way to do it.
Dude, yeah, pretty much that was his outlook on it, and I was like, damn, dude, my brain hurts. But, yeah, Mark and Bob were in that Charlie Hunter masterclass. It was pretty crazy.
No way.
Everyone's here. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I've never taken a lesson with Bob, but like I have like there's a little bit of history like between us because like we're both like Bob is also from Jersey, and we're from like neighboring towns. Like we're literally right next to each other.
Cool.
And like I used to work. My first job was like at a supermarket.
Nice.
And like and like my GM at the time, her like she was like I like she had like heard that I played guitar or whatever, and she was like oh you're a guitar player, right? I'm like yes, no, I won't play you something, but yes, I am a guitar player. And she was like she's like, oh, do you know Snarky Puppy? I'm like, yeah, like everybody. I didn't listen to them at the time, but I was like, yeah, I know who they are. And she was like, oh, Bob used to work here.
That's
and
funny.
I was like, shit. and then like years later, I saw like a video of him. Like it was on YouTube. He was like, I think he's endorsed by like Federa, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's got like a Bob Lanzetti signature.
Yeah,
and
I see that shit. So
yeah. and I like she never like said his name. She was just like, oh, Bob this, Bob that, like not Bob Lanzetti, just like that. But then we like I was like the video popped up, and I was like wait, oh wait, shit, this is the Bob. This is the Bob. Like this is the same Bob.
Totally.
And then I found out that like we studied with the same teacher and stuff. Yeah, like like we both this guy Vic Juris, who's a great jazz player. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I got one of his books. That's about all I could say. But yeah, I was actually thinking about making that into one of my lessons. I was thinking about doing quarantine lessons. You must know this quarantine.
Yes.
7. I mean, that's
yeah.
class, dude.
That's shit.
How was sitting with Vic juris? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, a lot of those like note like tone clusters and stuff like that.
Love that shit.
Um, but no, like Vic was an amazing teacher. He was also like a really he was also like really he's super generous. He was super generous and like very like welcoming and stuff. Like they were like
Find it in
you
teaching
know
from my perspective.
yeah he was like always like like and like everybody like there was not like one person who had like a bad thing to say about the guy. Like everyone like just universally like loved the guy.
Yeah.
And he was just like he was I remember like the last time I like saw him in person before he passed. It was like maybe a week and a half or so
Oh wow.
before he passed. But he like I was there with a friend of mine who's also a student of his, and he like gave us like this like comping masterclass, basically just like like when you're playing over a tune. Yeah, I think we used all the things you are as the example. You know, you don't always have to go. You don't always have to go like you know
Yeah.
you don't have to go chord 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 chord.
Really.
You know, if so, like he said like if someone's playing the melody, you could do like a like a counterpoint thing or like a counter line kind of underneath it to like support it rather than just
Yeah.
so like you could go like
Cool. Heavy. Yeah. Just do the like
yeah
exact fucking opposite. Yeah.
that like that type of thing.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's like just
Yeah. That's kind of almost how I play in general.
mhm.
At least I'm kind of busy in a bad way sometimes, but I try not to do the normal thing. I feel like
Yeah,
I'm just
and like I had never like I didn't even know like you could do that.
yeah
It was like mine like I'd heard him doing it, but I didn't know like what he was doing or how he was what he was thinking,
yeah
like approaching it. And like even in like a trio setting or like a duo setting with like
yeah.
guitar and bass or like
Just
guitar and any other thing, you don't always have to go like
yeah. It really puts you in the box too. I think uh,
well,
just doing the kind of chunky thing in general. It's like mentally or something. It's like once you start doing the chunk, I think it's like then it's like it like has to be there or something, or so it sounds
that
cool maybe that like playing like something sounds weird, because it's not as full, it's not as empty, it's not you're playing like whatever 5 or 6 notes versus
yeah
and it's like this is audibly difference in the volume, and again it's just kind of a lesson at like
exactly.
solo guitar, duo guitar, dude. That's been my life like for financial reasons recently, where it's like I'm just been kind of tight on money. I'm playing a lot of solo gigs or duo gigs, just like
Hmm.
my girlfriend on cello, and it's like she can play like 1 or 2 notes, you know, and then like I can sing, and I can sing 1 note. I can't throat sing or do overtones, so and then I can play the guitar, and it's like, well, either there needs to be a bass line, or I can play the melody, or taking a solo. I don't know. It's kind of like you know what I'm talking about, like, or just playing
Yeah,
solo guitar. It's like, okay, well now I'm playing the chords, or like you have to hit the chord and then play the line.
yeah, like that. That was kind of like my thinking at first, like just being like, thinking that like the chords have to be there, or like I have to fill the sound
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
get
like that.
that. That's
But
I like have noticed that on my own accord, where it's like I feel like once I start doing that, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in my comfort zone. And
Exactly, yeah.
uh,
And it was like, but it was like, I would hear guys like Vic.
what's up?
How's it going, man?
I think my volume is down. Yeah.
All right. You hear me now?
What's good?
Oh, you got your X too. Sick.
Yeah. So I tried to just kind of set up the station for.
hmm
Uh,
Yeah, I got mine. I got my my get up right here.
yeah. What's
Got
this
my amp.
little thing? Is it the Roland synth guy?
Yeah, that's right.
Word.
It's
I've never used one of those.
yeah, it's for like you can get like MIDI sounds. Like you can get like a synth type sound out of it if you want.
Any
I
external pedal or anything like that?
Yeah, it's this this pickup is compatible with the GP10 Boss,
Okay.
which is like a multi effects.
Yeah.
That's like my that's pretty much my like live rig if I'm playing like rock or anything like that. Which is like it's just this guitar, that pedal, and then one of my like usually like a twin.
Okay. Right on. Yeah.
Right now, right now I'm just going straight through a Katana right now.
That's what
So
I got.
it's like,
I don't know. You can see.
oh word,
Yeah. That's
nice man.
my only amp right now. And mine recently died not that long ago. It kept like turning off on the gig for a while, which was just fucking annoying. And I don't know
Yeah,
if
is that
yours
like
is like this, but like it I don't know how this makes sense, but basically when I turn it on, it turns on with an octave down on the lead channel, and it's like every time. So like when it would flip off and then it would like flip back on, it would like start on the crazy insano setting with an octave down, and it was just like fuck, dude. So
oh
uh
god,
I just like took it all apart, and it still starts on the crazy setting. It's been like that since I got it, and I've tried to hook up the like Katana effects thing to my computer with like no luck. So
god damn. What kind of amp do you have that was having that issue?
it's the Katana.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh fuck.
which is just so strange. Yeah.
That's like, I mean, like I get that. What do you have, the 100 or yeah? So like usually when I turn it on, it goes to one of like it just like resets to one of like the tone presets.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if there's a way to like get that to just like to get that to like not do anything and like to get that to stop and just like go to like a clean channel. But like yeah, I mean like that's I always try to make sure I have it on like the quietest possible setting,
Yeah.
tone
Yeah,
setting.
in general, I think it's got a little
Yeah,
hum to it. It's not like the cleanest sound ever, but it
yeah,
works. It's all I got right now. I've been looking at
yeah.
the Subaru Blues Kings. Have you heard of those?
Mm,
They're
yeah,
I don't know. I played one the other day, and it was like just as loud as the 100, and it was like 15 watt, and it was like pretty clean. I mean, but it was. I don't like playing totally clean necessarily all the time. I like a little bit of grit, kind of like Julian Lage, like just a little crunch, but nothing
yeah.
like unless I'm playing like acoustic guitar. But even then I use distortion on my acoustic guitar. So, uh,
That's sacrilege.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I do try to make it a little cleaner, like more boost than gain, I guess, or overdrive. But I do have an overdrive pedal. I don't have like a distortion per se, so it's a little bit cleaner. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just kind of like all that stuff. It was like I was like, man, this thing is really singing, and it's half the size of the one I have right now. So
Wow.
I mean,
It's like, any like
half the size.
if it's smaller but packs the same punch, like that's
Totally. And it
totally
doesn't start on the crazy fucking Insano setting. So it's kind of like
added bonus.
a huge yeah.
Added bonus.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you can see
Kind of
my
like
pedals.
oh yeah. Let's see it.
I got the Mando right here. I'm trying to
Nice.
learn me some Mando. I got a tuned mandola like a cello.
Nice. I got a Mando. In the basement. Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know. This isn't on, but it's a looper, and then Chase Bliss slow. It's like an octopedal, this little red guy right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. You can see it.
Nice. Yeah. I got the same looper, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's my ghetto attempt to be able to sing at places that don't have a PA. Because I could just because it has XLR, so I could just kind of sing out my amp, and it doesn't sound like the best, but it also sounds pretty good. I've been to a lot of shows where like even if they have a PA, it's like a shit PA. It's like I still can't hear myself singing, and I'm like, fuck this. I just unplug their microphone from the snake, and then like my amp is like, still louder and still sound better. So it's like it's pretty liberating, I guess, to be able to just be like, but yeah, and in not so vulgar way, but like, yo, I got this. I don't need your shit. Like,
it's like very like. There's very rarely do I come across like actual venues that have like a shit setup like that. Usually you find that kind of setup at like in like a basement show get up, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, Colorado's a little strange. A lot of PAs, and the ones that do, maybe they're older, or it's like it's just been there, and there's like the people that work there don't know how to use it, and it's like, okay, there's no sound guy, but we have a PA that we don't know how to use, or people like jack speakers or something, or like, I don't know. It's kind of a little confusing. It seems like that everywhere, and then like especially when you play in bars versus like a venue, it's like,
oh yeah,
it's kind of just like good luck.
Yeah, because like they only really, I guess they only really like call for sound guys when for in like emergency situations when they actually have music there.
That's kind of an interesting topic of like sound guys. I've tried to like become a sound guy per se. Seems like it'd be a form of income on an off night, but it's hard to do that. It's also really hard. I've had some really embarrassing moments as a sound guy. More so
really?
than playing guitar. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, one particular example I could think of, it was just like, kind of same thing. The PA really wasn't where it should have been, and it was like a kind of outside gig, but like in a tent. But it was like still kind of inside. There was like kind of walls, but it was like this tent cover. And it was like cold as fuck, and I don't know. It was like whatever happened with the microphones with vocally, it was like I had it like right at the level, right forward feedback, and it was just like as loud as it could go, but it was still not loud enough, and everyone's just like, "Can you turn the vocals up?" It's like, dude, do you not hear this thing like on the verge of feedback? Like
it's as loud as it possibly can go.
Yeah. So it was, again, a situation where it's like, well, if you want to run it through your, your amp or something, we could do that. And one of them ended up doing that. Way better. It was like just the one circumstance I could think of where everyone was just like hounding me, and I'm like, damn, I don't know what to do, and it's not as simple, especially when it's on like gear that's not yours, I was sitting in at like a random place, like doing someone else's job, and
I'm not like I don't claim to have like any experience with like sound or anything like that, or like being a sound guy. Although I do have like, there was one time there was one time when we were playing this like outdoor show at this like beachy kind of
Hell yeah.
bar like restaurant type thing.
That's cool though.
And yeah, I mean it was a cool place. Like it ended up going nice, but like while we were setting up, the guy was like miking our amps or whatever, and I was like, oh, well, like, are you using SM57 to mic our amps? And he's like, and he said he'd never heard of it, but he was holding one.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's joking. That would be a really funny joke.
He was like, what's an M? He was like, what's an SM57? And I was like, oh,
I've
this is
seen
gonna.
that too, though. Like where I don't know, some of the breweries I play at more specifically, where like they have nice sound systems, but then it's like they just kind of like show someone like, hey, just go take care of this or whatever, and it's more like just like the steps. I think I lost you over here. I'm gonna call you back. Yeah, totally. It's
Other video downloaded.
yeah, yeah, that's been like
Word.
overuse my computer basically in the time where when it crashes on Zoom, I like let the video download and then like if I try to it like just like deletes the video somehow. So I just like
Oh,
well, it
I get that.
back on. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just, I'm learning so much about technology right now.
Hey, we're making it work. Making it work either way.
I made my own merch last night. Like,
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, I need to do that. Like I need to find somebody who can make me logos and designs and shit. That would be way sick. And yeah, it's like just kind of have like runs of merch and stuff, and like get what you get, and wait till the next stuff comes out. But now that I could just make my own designs and stuff, or if I could have someone else make my designs, but I could just stitch them on the shirts basically like that. PDF, then it's like kind of like unlimited on what I could do with that. I could like
Yeah.
become a designer.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what you can. That's what you can.
Like that's band merch, I guess.
Yeah. That's it. I made a logo for myself for my website on
That looks fucking
yeah.
sick. How did you do that?
There's this so Wix.com that I use that's what I used for the website.
Yeah.
They had before I like got to the website part of it, they have this thing called Wix Logo Maker, where you can basically like
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward stuff, but you can like design a logo from scratch and stuff. Like that's what I did with mine. I just Ben Weiss guitarist, and then picture of a Telecaster in there.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that. That's fucking sick.
And you can to design the logo is free, and I'm pretty sure you can download like the logo files for free. The website is totally optional, but you can.
Cool. Yeah, I have my website on Wix, but I like never use it. That's kind of like a silly thing. But I don't know. Maybe you feel this way, but I don't know if anyone actually ever really goes to my website. I also don't really put it anywhere other than like on my Bandcamp, or like if you're to look me up, or I think it's on my YouTube, but it's on Facebook too. But like, I don't know. It's not really like a thing that people use, or no one's ever like, I was checking out your website the other day.
Yeah, I mean, like I made it because like it was I felt like it was I'd been like kind of putting it off for a long time, or I'd been like waiting for the right moment or whatever. I'm like whatever, just fucking rather than like wait around and just like scratch my ass all day long. I might as well do something with all this time.
It'd be like that. Yeah, I'm trying to be productive. But yeah, I don't know. What else?
Well, wait, sorry, what was that?
What were your other highlights of Vic Juris?
Oh yeah, he was he was also like extremely sarcastic and also just like brutally honest to a
Yeah,
point, you
that's
know.
helpful though.
Yeah, he was a big he was no, yeah, he was also like a big jokester, like not like a practical joker, but like
Yeah,
yeah, if he would like he'd like to like if he liked you, then he would like twist your nuts every now and then, and like or just like try to poke fun at you, push your buttons a little bit.
totally.
So like um he would also there was like there's one time, it's like my favorite time, one of my favorite memories of him. We were going over this tune, and like and one of my friends, like, we were in like an ensemble rehearsal, and one of my friends was like going through the changes of some of like the tune we were playing. He was just like analyzing it or whatever, and he was like, okay, like B flat 7 sharp 11, okay, whatever, okay, so I can do like Lydian dominant over that, stuff like that. And and Vic heard that, he was just like, fuck you and your Lydian dominant shit, like just
Yeah,
fucking play the blues, like just fucking play the blues.
nice.
It's like, and it's just like I didn't expect that from him, like
Yeah,
at first, and then when he said it, it was just like, it was just so like not like so like non academia, like just so like
yeah,
so like fuck off with the Lydian dominant, like just the fucking blues, man.
yeah. I feel that way now too, though. Having not been to
Yeah,
school for a while, I don't really care about any of that shit anymore. Uh,
I've
the,
yeah I stopped caring about a year and a half ago about that
yeah,
stuff.
I'm trying to write a guitar book, so that's kind of bringing me back to some of the scales and stuff. And,
Oh,
just
cool.
going through that. But in general, like this was my question to Charlie Hunter during the master class or whatever, because I was like, I want to know how you feel about like playing with feeling and playing for audiences, and how the fuck do you just go out and play like Charlie Parker and then like I don't know, like some pop tune like Lady Gaga or something, and then you play the blues, and then you whatever, and like how do you have the audience engaged at that level? And I don't know. He was like, dude, you just gotta feel it, man. Like he was like, you gotta play shit that you like and shit that other people like, and you know, like you can't just be like up there playing fucking your Lydian dominant bullshit. Like you go up there,
Exactly.
shit that sounds good, and don't be stupid, don't play in 17 just because you want to. you know
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, like you can't like,
It's
you're
interesting.
not like, most of the time you're not playing for musicians, you're
So
playing for people who are there because they want to feel a certain way,
yeah,
because
yeah,
at the end of the day, they're not thinking intervals, they're they're just listening to like, they're feeling the music, it's
yeah.
like quite literally
That's
that.
a totally different thing. That's a totally different thing.
Hmm.
But
And making that distinction, making that separation is like something that I've tried to figure out, have been trying to figure out for as long as I've been playing guitar. I'm like,
mm,
like, do I want to be listenable, or do I want to like, you know, do I want to be, an artist? Not that you can't be both, because
yeah,
like there's a lot of,
there's a big
you
difference.
know,
There's a big
there
difference.
there is a big difference. There are people who are, there are guys who are both, like
Totally
John Mayer. John Mayer is one of my favorites. I love John Mayer.
isn't.
Great, great guitar player and a great songwriter, and a popular one, at the best.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran as well.
Yes,
You know,
that
mhm.
divide record's pretty hard. One of my students came at me, really beginning guitar player. I was like, I'm gonna learn the solo album, and I was like, let's do it. And I was like, oh man, I figured it
Yeah,
out. It took me a few listens. It wasn't, and that's kind of something that's cool too. Is like, even though it's simple, but if you can't understand it the first time you hear it, that's why I'm like, yes,
yeah,
yeah, he's done it. But or whoever, she, he, they. But it's yeah, for me, that's kind of like it's really strange. I heard Jacob Collier explain it at this master class once, where he was talking about like that's how he has perfect pitch, and I kind of agree with that. Where like that's how I'm able to like pick out chord types. Is I think about the feeling so much more, or like an idea. Like when I hear this voicing, I don't think of like, oh, major 7/9. I think of Vic Juris. I don't think of the
Exactly.
like the theory thing. I think of like
Hmm.
an emotion, or I have like some sort of like association. Even
Yeah.
kind of like the interval thing, maybe, or like some people have, like think like, oh, that's like NBC's like the major 6 or what
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
Thomas before or something. I do that with like chords and like keys, which is kind of strange.
Hmm.
But once it was explained to me like that, I was able to like hear like modes and hear like chords like minor 11 or flat 5.
Hmm.
I didn't, even though I had been playing those sounds and like actually like shedding them, like whatever. It was hard for me to hear them until I thought about it in that way, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, that's kind of how I hear, or that's how I write music now too. It's like that's how I try to, instead of just like, you know, like like you were saying, like if you hear like a voicing
Yeah.
like that, or you know stuff like that, or one of my favorites. Um, it's like like that when
What?
you hear something like that.
Okay.
So D D F sharp A sharp and then B.
Mm.
Kind of have to have short nails for it, which I don't right now.
Yeah, I got stubs. Like, I just buy my fingers.
But yeah, stuff like that. It's like when I play that stuff now, I'm not thinking, chord qualities or what. I mean, I mean, I want it to be the right tonality, but like, when I'm playing them now, I'm just like, it's like, okay, like if I want to create tension, or like if I'm thinking like something tense or like a little jarring or whatever, then like that's the kind of thing I'll go for. Or
Yeah.
like you know like if I want something,
Yeah, that was pretty
if I
count.
want if I
Yeah.
like that's like a total Vic thing too. Just like tritone sub the fuck out of everything.
Yeah. I have a funny story. I tried to try doing some shit at church one time, and it would not go very well. It just taught me that, like, I don't know. I mean, I think guitar. I was playing bass. This is totally different too. Where like, I don't know. It was a 2-5-1, but it was just so strange. Uh, I don't know. It was like kind of like, again, one of those things where it was like, not here. This is not the place to. And like, uh, I don't know. It was kind of funny. Uh, just because, yeah, I used to do shit like that all the time, where I would try to superimpose all the bullshit that I was doing in whatever musical situation I was in, which sometimes worked and sometimes it didn't work at all. And then the other thing I could say about the tritone sub, at least for me, is like I think a lot of people take it so literally, and like say you're in C or something. Like I prefer major 7 than the dominant 7, which
Ooh.
I don't know. I like, so like if people are, a lot of times, like if I'm playing with someone else who's doing it,
Uh-huh.
people assume dominant 7, and then I play major 7, and they're like, whoa, and then you got like this beboppy thing going on.
Hmm.
People
That
fucking,
that's cool. I never tried it that way.
I I heard it that way somewhere. I don't remember where, and ever since I was like, oh, that sounds way cooler. I
Wait,
get to
who
like
wait who does that stuff? Who does that?
I remember. I'm thinking now of East Coast Love Affair.
Oh. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Kurt.
Yeah, something like that. The second one, he makes major 7, and although it's not really super, but I've heard kind of like that constant thing. There's that,
Hmm.
Will Brom. I had him on the podcast. He's got the fee fi fo fum thing, and he does it on keyboards.
Yeah. I've been meaning. I've been thinking about learning East Coast Love Affair for so fucking long. I need to stop putting it off.
Yeah, transcribe right.
Bro, like take a picture of that and send that to me.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it right now. And, he's, I don't know. It's not 100% right, but it's pretty close, and it's close enough to hear the mistakes now. I did this a while ago.
Uh,
But yeah, it's pretty heavy. The tune itself is easy to learn. This
yeah, like it sounds. I mean, yeah, the tune itself is like. I mean, the melody sounds easy, but then like the whole like what was it? Was it that whole thing that?
Yeah, that's what this is.
I don't know what it is. I just hear it in my head. That's what that is.
Yeah. I don't have the tune. It's just the intro. But
that's fine. That's all I need.
The intro though, it's like, oh, you kind of understand the tune.
Mm-hmm.
But it's dude, heady shit. He's
heavy shit.
He's one of my favorites too. I love
Kurt.
I don't even know. He seems like an animal.
Kurt's yeah. I saw Kurt at the Blue Note in New York.
Oh wow.
With it was with Joey DeFrancesco, Christian McBride, and Little John Roberts on drums. It was just like they literally just called tunes like the whole time.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty crazy. As someone, that's the weird thing I have a stigma with. But the Blue Note is like the place to do that. That's kind of my rule after having graduated and everything, where it's like I don't play jazz anywhere that's not a jazz club. I don't think it goes over very well unless you're Charlie Hunter, but he makes everything nasty. But like, it's still like I don't know. That would be so sick. There's so few places in Colorado that are just kind of straight ahead places. If you're talking about making sense, and it's like, yeah, that's cool. But that would be the place to fucking see that shit. With that lineup, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and it was like so informal too. Like they were just like they like called, you know, they were just like doing shit like what you would do at a jam session. You know, it was just like it's like, hey, you want to play Nika's Dream? Like, all right, cool. You know, it's like, yeah, I know that one. Yeah, and of course, like they know every fucking standard known to man.
That's I mean, that's a topic in itself. I mean, that's like an art to me. Is like people who know like all the tunes. I know one cat named Phineas, and he plays bass and sings. And there's the point where he didn't even own an instrument, and he would just could sit down and play bass, guitar, piano. He could remember every word, and he could sing every harmony and make up his own shit instantly. And you could, you know, just solo and all this stuff. But
it's like savant levels of like virtuosity.
Yeah, but to me, the question became, how was he able to remember all of the tunes if he never practiced? Does that make sense? Because he didn't have an instrument. Either he found pianos on the street, which there's a lot of them in Fort Collins where I live.
Wait, he didn't have an instrument?
No, he was homeless at the time, which is really sad. But like,
is he okay now?
Yeah, he's. I think he might be in New York right now, but
oh wow.
I'm not sure. But he's. I think he's good. He's.
All right, that's good.
I saw he was playing in New York, like kind of when all the shit was shutting down. So, that's kind of interesting. I don't know where he is now, but yeah, he's interesting. He doesn't have a phone. He now has a car, but you know, he just kind of travels around and plays gigs, which is super sweet for him now. But he was like in a really shitty place when I met him, and like he didn't have any instruments, and I would just be like, "Yo, Finn, can you play this gig for me?" Because he was amazing. Like he was like, he's still to this day probably the best musician I've ever met. Like,
wow.
because he knew every tune, like, and I'm pretty sure he had perfect pitch. And if he didn't, he played enough guitar and bass to be able to look at your hands. You know what I mean? You know that to know the shapes and shit. And so he could just like basically play anything in real time. And then he could sing like a motherfucker. And it was just like, yo, you're
Wow.
coming to the gig with me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, let's get you off the street and just come. He'd be like, stay to my house for like 2 or 3 months after that because I was like, this kid's amazing. We met on a porch and kind of same thing. He's just calling tune after tune and was like, this one, this
Wow.
one. Like, some of them, but I was like, wow, this guy really knows some tunes and he could play. And he was playing on like a mini guitar. And I remember we played Stella by Starlight and he just like sang it and like played it. And I was like, woo, pretty crazy, pretty crazy.
Wow.
So kind of like, that was my realization of when I was like, that is an art within itself, is remembering every tune. I mean,
Hmm.
outside of the fact he didn't have an instrument, that's like some otherworldly crazy shit. But like, he's
That's right.
it's pretty crazy in general. You say that, I mean, I'm sure those dudes are on that level. I just wonder what like muscle or how, if there's some sort of way, or like if you just ask them like, did you just spend like 10 years with your nose in the real book and just like, playing along to every record you could find, and now you
I,
have it
I,
in
I feel like all these guys, they just like I mean, they definitely like have their ears in the records. You know, I don't feel like I feel like most of them like probably didn't even didn't learn them from the real book. Because it's like,
That's true.
I mean, I don't like learning tunes from the real book. I mean, like I always like to, if someone like calls a tune at a session or whatever, and I don't know it,
No
I
reason.
immediately I immediately I immediately write it down,
Yeah,
and
right.
then and then after that, then I like look up, who, so I look up some recordings of it and like try to find, find a
Okay.
cool
Yeah, that's
version.
how you should do it. That's how you should do it. It's really the only way.
So I can't talk. Sorry about that.
You're good. But yeah, I don't know. That's the art to just have all the tunes memorized. I'd love to talk to somebody about that one day. Just like,
Someone who like has like enough of those tunes down,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think I've counted it before, like how many songs I could think of off the top of my head, like like 3 or 4 times that I could just play in this moment right now. And I think four was the number both times. And I was like, hey, that's not that many tunes,
Yeah.
But
I was thinking about it. I know like maybe like I know like, if I go to a jam or whatever, I know like maybe four tunes at a time. So I
totally.
have to like, if like if someone, and I'm like, oh, like what tunes have I been working on lately? I'm like, and then I just like blank.
Yeah,
It's
I have a list. I have a list in my pocket at all times of like songs that I want to do because yeah, that happens to me all the time. As soon as I get on stage, I just forget everything that ever happened.
Mhm. It's like, what is this? How do I do this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a weird one for sure. That's a whole other thing. Trying to keep your shit together when you're on stage,
Hmm.
and just remembering changes and everything. You could sit there and practice it for hours and hours and hours, but the second you get in front of people or you start playing with other people, everything can go to shit like in your brain, and it's not because you.
Exactly.
It's like a focus thing, I think. But anxiety. I used to get so nervous when I would play with people, especially like in jazz situations, because I was like, I'm shit, and like literally my hands would shake, and like I would just be garbage, dude. And I don't know. It took me probably 200 gigs to get over that shit. Where it was like, just like if somebody really good would come sit in with me, or I was
Hmm.
taking a lesson with Mark Lettieri, or like whatever it was, I would just get like so nervous about it, and I'm sure it was like so noticeable from their perspective, but I didn't know how to deal with it at the time, and it was
Yeah.
like I don't know.
Yeah. It definitely, it took me like a long time to kind of get over, like get around to that whole
Now
thing.
I'm comfortable sitting in with anyone and playing whatever, and doing whatever, and someone's like, oh, you want to sing over this? Oh, you want to play bass? Oh, could you play keys over this? Or, I don't know. Can you play my jazz trio? Can you play drums for my reggae band? You know what I mean? Whatever it is, like, whatever,
Yeah,
I'll try. You want me to play slide guitar, dobro in your bluegrass? Sure, let's do it.
let's do it. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but I don't think, had I had gone through those kind of like, just like bone shaking situations where now I'm kind of like, can't be that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Once after you do it, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 times, hundreds of times,
Yeah, yeah,
then it's just, and then you're kind of numb to it. You're kind of numb to it to a degree.
yeah, yeah. That sounds kind of like vain or silly, but I don't. That's another thing. Two other things I'd like to talk to people about, and maybe those are different days, but it's just like, uh, those are arts in their own. Dealing with your own anxiety, like while you're playing, and then being able to remember every tune on top of that. Those
Hmm.
fine. Those are some serious things, and yeah, you just gotta keep your shit together. But there's probably way other things we could talk about in more depth. But yeah, man, I'm probably gonna let you go. I'm gonna eat some breakfast, and I'm supposed to meet with Matt Warnock. Do you know him?
The name's familiar.
He has like a pretty big education site. He's got like a free PDF book. Check it out. It's pretty sick. That's how I learned like all the drop 2 and 3 things. I had them explained to me so many times, and it took me downloading this free PDF from this guy from Europe to understand it. I don't know, just visually how he had it laid out just made so much sense to me, and it was like every chord type, and that was sick. And then the other book, there's a bunch of other, but like in general, I don't know. He's on lockdown too in Europe, and I was like, yo, I would love to just fucking hang, and he hit me back, so I got to meet
Wow.
him at 4, but I'm trying to get some lunch in. It was a pleasure, bro. Thank you
Yeah,
for hanging. I hope you have a good day.
yeah,
Uh,
man. This
keep
this
streaming.
is great.
Send me some shit. Let's do it again. Feel free to call anytime. It was a pleasure meeting you, dude. I'll post this. I finally fucking enabled my YouTube to post hour-long videos, so this will go on YouTube now. So I'll link.
Sick, man.
But yeah, peace out, brother. It was a pleasure.
Peace out, man.